So I'm going to put a primer coat on this layer. The reason I'm not touching the layer is because it's been cast in polyurethane and wax has been used as a release agent to get it out the mould. So after I've used wax, I have to wash them in soapy water, scrub them with a bit of alcohol, and if I touch it, there's a good chance that grease off my hands will get back onto the layer. So the paint I'm using is just ordinary opaque white airbrush colours, and this airbrush is an Aztec airbrush. I think I got it when I was about 16 years and years ago. Too much of a cheapskate to buy a new anyway, it works. So that's it, first coat. That needs to air dry, and with this paint I need to give it some heat to cure the paint after it's air dried, so about 10-15 minutes. I'll just give it a quick once over with the heat gun. Obviously I don't want to cook it so it peels off, but it needs to be get some temperature to really strengthen the paint. So this is our first coat of colour, which is not colour actually, it's black. Again, same stuff, airbrush colour, black, opaque, and what I'm going to do with this is put the base for the scales and also do the shading on the top of the fish. So I'm actually going to take this colour right down, almost to the bottom. It doesn't need to be thick on the bottom of the black. And then towards the top, I need it thick. Darken it up, and then round the eye. So at this stage you can see the black here is being blacked in around the eye. The gill plates are still quite white. It's darkened right the way across the top, and we come down and thinned out the colour a bit, thinned out the black as we get down towards the bottom. So you can see, very dark on top, black. And then the back I've just left for the time being. That's going to be something completely different. So I'll have to mask that and sort that out later, but that's going to be a completely different set of colours. So that's so far. Again, leave it to air dry and then I have to give it a heat before we can start putting on the other colours. So I'm going to do the scale pattern now. I'm using this very fine mesh. And what I'm going to do is fold it over, clip it back. And this is the bit that normally generates a bit of swearing. Lots of sticks. The important thing about this mesh, I've found that it's not so much the scales need to be fine, but the actual material of the mesh itself needs to be fine. Otherwise the scales end up looking a bit strange. The outlines. So what I'm using here is just some clothes pegs. And just really to get some tension on the end, I've got these little crocodile clips. It's just there we go. Now what I'm going to do is go over in white, opaque again. And what this is going to do is block out the black and just leave me with the outline of the scales. It's difficult to do this because you can't really see how much colour you're putting on. So I always find this quite difficult. So I tend to go in even strokes. And what I want to do is leave a dark black strip at the top. And the rest of it pretty much white. Destroying it. God. So that's a scale pattern. You see it's really quite stark, and what I need to do is now is just clean up these gilt plates here to get the scale pattern off. And you can see the black bit left on top, that black rim. So that's the base, and now you can really add the colour. I know it's very stark and it doesn't look like a fish, but I'll show you that on the next that hopefully it'll start to look like a bit of a fish. Let me just see if I can get that white out. That's the gilt plates. So we can start adding the colour now. The colour I'm adding is blue first off. This is by a different company. It's just basically blue acrylic. The important thing about this is it's translucent, so you can virtually see through it. So what's going to happen when I spray this on the scale pattern, you'll still see it, but it's obviously going to be coloured blue. So I'll just give it a go. I'm just going to make it a bit darker at the top, so it looks a bit more natural. You can see instantly, you can still see the scales through with the colours there. That's the blue. That's all it needs really. I find if I go too dark and put too much on, when I put a clear coat on to finish the layer, it just disappears. It's too dark basically. At the moment that's pretty matte and pretty bland. As I say, once the clear coat of epoxy goes onto the layer, it'll really pick it out and make it stand out again. But that's it basically. So what I'm going to do is put what could be the final coat of colour on, which is this translucent red. Again, allowing the details to show through the scale pattern. I suppose what I'm doing is a bleeding gill pattern, which normally runs along the bottom. Which is that. So, I mean, the layer is largely done. Because there's a spoon there, I'm going to spray the back. That's it. So it's coming out. The job's pretty much done. The only thing really I can add now, if I wanted to, was a shimmer coat, which is another translucent ink, which comes in green or blue or a range of colours. And what it does is it gives like a colour shift. so it just gives it that kind of realism. But once this is clear coated with epoxy, the colours will really pop out anyway. And I might just give that a go in a second. So this is the drying rack. I just drop some eyes on them and sand the back, and they're ready to go for a couple of coats of epoxy. So just to show you, I don't get it right all the time. This is my box of rejects from moulding and experiments with foil. And the great thing about this box is I get to go and use these for fishing myself and batter them into rocks. And really fish like I don't care, to test the hell out of them. I've not reached the stage yet of running them over with a car, but that's to come.